show's super fun. Like,
well, that was iffy. Pryor will serve. Flicked on! At pace. And Godoy just plays a little bit a part of Elakari. Pryor leaves, waffles in, across, oh, Mike, and in! San Diego off! Front office, coaches, and now play. Oh, goal! Artem Smolyakov! Good job, a last minute defending. McVay comes in, blocks it. Smolyakov with a little... settles, cuts it across in the middle, back post, and then... You switch the point of attack and get it wide. Great ball from Bawanga. Palencia's on his front foot. Now any kind of ball across Dos Santos is dangerous, but the composure there...
All right, you saw the good, the bad, everything in between with that game. I'm Celso Oliveira. This is section 128 LAFC. I'm here with Eric Holstrom, my partner in crime, as I like to say it. Big show. As you know, huge week for our club, Eric. We had a crazy game on Saturday. I confess I was a little busy with some festivities, but at the same time got to watch the game and see a few things that are worth talking about. Of course, the big elephant in the room is Inter Miami. They're going to be visiting BMO Stadium on Wednesday. We have a very special guest to talk to us about that game. He will be joining us about 5 to 10 minutes. So we're going to switch things around here. I had it planned to talk about San Diego first, but I think it makes sense to start with the big dance, since which is really what everybody wants to know, and who's going to advance from this quarterfinals between Inter Miami and LAFC, the first game being at home here at BMO. So just to set the stage before we bring in Daniel from Battered Fans. First off, how you doing, Eric? Let's just slow down things a little bit. Tell me how you're feeling. Let's not go into the San Diego game too much yet, but tell me how you're feeling just in general as an LAFC fan this week. Temperature check time, buddy.
Yeah, it's appropriate, Daniel, whose podcast Battered MLS Fans is on the show, because I'm feeling pretty battered from this last week. Shout out to you, Celso. You had a birthday on Saturday, which was the festivities you were alluding to, and LAFC couldn't deliver with a win on your birthday. So I guess it's a lump of coal in your stocking this year.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. I was watching it while I was having dinner, and I couldn't believe how things turned out in that first half. And again, it's going to be fun to talk to you about. But, you get to, as far as I understand, go to the game on Wednesday. Last week, you announced that you were not going to the Inter Miami game. So tell us a little bit. Let's open up with your personal news. I know you got some news, as much as we can share, right, at this time. What's going on with you this week? Let's start there.
Well, all right. If you're going to drop it on,
I just said, what's going on with you this week, man? Like, from there, you take it, buddy. You take it as far as you want.
This week, my news.
You said you weren't going to the game, so, is anything changed?
I am going to the game, so I was looking. I've seen Messi already, so I'm like, all right, if I can get a good chunk of my season tickets back, I will. But as it turns out, I got a job offer halfway across the country.
That's news information.
So I will be a little bit remote. So this Miami game for me is a must-see because there's not a ton of games I'll get to see anymore as a local here. And I'll be traveling from the Midwest to come back for it. But whatever.
That's black cool, and gold. Man. Look, what the most important thing is that you're attending this game, and that's really what I wanted to focus on. Congratulations. A job is always exciting. Happy for you. I know that you're going to continue to be a fan of LAFC. And this is how it starts. You cross-pollinate. You go to another state. Suddenly you're wearing that badge everywhere. And, people start picking up on these things. So it's natural for you to spread the gospel when you go wherever you are. And, again, more on that. But, look, I'm going to be there as well. It's going to be a great game. Just a couple of things about it real quick. April 2nd on Wednesday, I had the game marked to my calendar. Tomorrow, I freaked out when I realized it was on Wednesday. But here we are. I've asked for a Wednesday game, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah. No, we've been Tuesday. It's 8:30. The
8:30,
resale
which is cool.
in this game has been really fun to observe. They were up. Messi got hurt. They went way down, and Messi played again on Sunday, so they went up. I mean, the ticket prices live and die with Messi, which I guess we've been seeing that for a while. And
they've been down. They're down now, even with him playing. So
I'm honestly looking forward to like the Messi circus, like leaving the league, and we can go hopefully back to a nice quiet MLS like we had before he got here and before the entire world started eyeballing us and judging us. And like, I just want to have our quiet MLS back where we just kind of look at the game.
Stop it, Eric. No way, man. No, we need more guys, more stars. In fact, I think this is a really good segue to bring Daniel in. Hi, Daniel. Welcome to the show. Hey. Welcome to section 128. We started talking about Inter Miami and what they've meant to this league so far and what will change when Inter Miami is a Messi-less Inter Miami. To me, they're going to continue to reload and bring another superstar so they keep the momentum going. But do you agree with Eric, though? Do you think it's a little bit of a circus now? And if you were a fan of MLS before, are you looking forward to a time without Messi?
Daniel was. The battered part was pre-Messi because Miami definitely had a few seasons of getting battered.
Yeah, absolutely. Messi definitely changed our fortune. Even though we were a playoff team the year before Messi got here, and everybody says that we were last place before he got here. It was unfortunately, it was kind of meant to be that way because we didn't sign anybody in the offseason because we wanted to save all the money for when Messi got here. But to what Eric was saying, absolutely not. I am not looking forward to when Messi leaves. I love the fact that we are getting attention. I love the fact that people want to spend money on their teams. Now, people are looking at what Miami's doing, and they keep saying, oh, they have 12 DP players. How is that even possible? Well, I mean, it is possible. You get some TAM players, get some stars that people want to play with, and let's watch the league grow. I mean, maybe teams like Colorado and maybe DC United won't be able to benefit from that, but the big cities, they can, and I think that's great for us. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and we got a big game.
I'm not looking forward to a quiet MLS anymore, Eric.
I disagree with Eric Vimley on this one, because quiet MLS is the reason why I stayed away for a long time, and I think we need exposure. I don't mind the high caliber players coming in to get one more contract here in a more friendly environment. I think these things are okay. We have to embrace our role in the cycle of things, right? Until we get somewhere else. And if Messi wanted to play here, and it looks like he's not going to stay much longer, I think we have to embrace it. And here comes the next circus. I still call for Neymar to come to LAFC, which is seems ludicrous for a lot of people, but I still think he would be a good fit for him. And he's not having a good time in Brazil, but it is what it is. He is here, and he looks like he's going to make the trip, right, and play for Inter Miami this Wednesday. So a full squad for you. Talk to me a little bit about your expectations of this game, this series.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess much like LAFC, that side of the bracket, I felt like it was kind of laid out like a red carpet because anybody that ended up in that bracket, they avoided all Liga MX teams up until the semifinals at least, right? And if Vancouver could somehow pull off an upset against Pumas, you literally play MLS teams all the way throughout. So when we saw the bracket, we said Inter Miami has to make the final. LAFC, we felt took a step back, and we can have that conversation in a second if you want, because I do think they took a step back. Then you had, who else was there? Columbus, they took a step back. Inter Miami should win that side of the bracket. They should be in the semifinal. Just based off on paper from what we saw when we first saw the bracket. So the expectation is we were here in the same spot last year. We played against Monterrey. We were a red card away from possibly winning that first leg. Things kind of fell apart once we got that red card. And I mean, everybody's saying Mascherano's been doing better than Tata, but up until now, the only thing he's done out that Tata didn't do is Tata at this point had lost one game. Mascherano hasn't lost any games, but we're in the same spot. So if we are going to show any improvement from last year, they need to move on to the semifinals. They need to beat LAFC.
Eric, any questions? I got a few more, but I just want to give you the floor a little bit.
It's not really a question as much as a comment. It's like Miami keeps surviving all my slander. I'm just like, how does this roster with this age do the CCL grind? I mean, they flew to Jamaica, which I guess, all right, it's a much different trip from Los Angeles to Jamaica than from Miami to Jamaica. Yep. I think your travel time isn't quite been as bad, but still, it's a big travel and a big grind. And those guys are old, and they seem to be handling it. And it's pretty remarkable. Like I have been waiting on their downfall, and it just doesn't happen. And at this point, I'm just like, there's just not a team in this league that is as good as Miami last year and this year. And I think that you can go all the way back to the beginning of MLS. And that statement is true, is that Miami is just, it is the best team that MLS has ever seen. And I don't know if I've heard too many of the big national pundits starting this conversation yet, but for me, as somebody who's just waited to see them fall and they don't, and not only that, like you said, they're undefeated on this grind. It is insane. Like we've seen in all the last years, teams have to prioritize CCL, and that's the only way they advance in it. Like if they try to take
Columbus is doing well in league play and sucking really badly, and just got out of CCL. Like they had a really horrible CCL run. So
but they only have one
counter example, right?
But they had a bye in the first round, and they just came in like they played. They lost.
They had a horrible half against LAFC, and it cost them the entire series.
Yeah, and that was like their second or third game of the season too. And that's that's always the crapshoot at the beginning of CCL or CCC is that there are early games in the season. But if we look back to the past, every team that has done well in CCC or CCL has done very poorly to begin their MLS season because they're prioritizing those games and they're rotating. Miami, they've just been going through and winning every single game, whatever, if it's CCC or if it's league, they're winning them all. And this is another thing that, like, I don't think we've ever really seen in MLS is just this level of domination. So, that after our San Diego performance that you could tell was so awesome that we don't even want to talk about it. Now we're going into Miami, and this is
Let me ask Daniel a question because you touched on a couple of things here, and since it was a comment, I actually have a little bit more pointed question about Messi and what I've seen now is that whether he plays or not, the team is more consistent. And when he's playing now, he's scoring or contributing in every game. So
absolutely every game.
They're playing at a different level without him. Don't you agree?
Absolutely. I think what's the scariest thing for the MLS this year is that this Inter Miami team is far better than last year's team. And last year's team, regular season, just talking strictly regular season, only lost 4 games all year. And this team is better. I'm on the record already saying this team isn't going to lose more than 3 games. It's going to be the first team to lose 3 or less games because this team is deep. In the offseason, they added young guns on the wings that nobody really knew who they were. They knew there was a lot of potential. But so far, they've looked absolutely amazing. They kind of switched to a double pivot, right? Our defense was what was lacking last year. We were leaking against the counter. This year, we look much better. We got reinforcements at center back. We're playing the double pivot now. We have Yannick Bright for a full season. Everybody's saying that he could possibly be one of, if not the best center defensive midfielder in the league. And he's paired up back there with Busquets, which gives Busquets freedom to kind of just roam and create. And then we're playing with Messi center as a number 10. Usually you see him as the right wing, kind of working his way, no positionless, kind of rotating, floating into the center of the pitch. No, he's in the center of the pitch. He is in the middle of the action. Everything goes through him. Everything just looks great. And the fact that Suárez is still doing all of this with a fourth of a knee, it's just amazing. So, and all of this, and we still have 2 players that are on their way, which is Baltasar Rodriguez, which everybody does. The way they're talking about him, I don't even know where he fits, but they're going to have to find the place for him to play. And then Obando, which is going to be finally we have a backup striker, which is signed to Atletico Madrid, but they loaned them to us to the end of the year. So we've been looking great, and we still have 2 studs on their way in the next week or 2.
We're still trying to get Griezmann. That's all we got. That's all we got. I was like, well, we're on the Griezmann talk, and we might be getting him after the World Cup, perhaps, if he decides that he wants to be in LA and Giroud wants to, and maybe Lloris, but we might be getting Griezmann, and I'm glad you guys are making moves. So you've answered the question, man. Like, keep active, right? Sorry, go ahead. I was just going to say you've answered the question. Yeah. And look, as far as LAFC goes, what do you see the way to beat LAFC? And I think we're starting to be a little bit more predictable in terms of how do you beat us. But, talk to me a little bit about what do you see as the weaknesses and how do you come into this game to win it?
Well, I was surprised when I was watching the LAFC San Diego game, the way Lloris kind of just gave up that second goal. kind of just pooped the ball.
I didn't
out
even
of
put
his
that
hand.
up on the highlights, if you noticed.
Yeah,
I was
no,
like,
I
no.
know. But I don't know. I think LAFC. I know David Martinez. I feel like when Bologna was out of that game, David Martinez needs to be on that pitch more often. Now I wasn't sure. Did he start against San Diego?
He did, yeah.
I believe he did, yes.
We started Bologna under – first game without a 9. It was Bologna under and Martinez.
Yeah.
So
It was a game to try things for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like they need to find a way to get David Martinez on the pitch because put him behind Ebobisse and put him at the 10. Like, you just have to find a way to play him. But that's beside the point. How do we beat LAFC? Inter Miami likes to hold possession, right? And Dodo ball's kind of boring. They're okay with the other team holding possession. But if you let us create, we have the players that you can defend or do whatever you want. Eventually, we're gonna break through. And I mean, and with Messi there, he just attracts so much attention. As soon as he drifts wide, he takes 2 defenders with him all the time. And then Suárez, even though some people are criticizing the way he's played so far this year, he's still contributing goal contributions left and right.
Right.
I think that if you're playing Dolo ball all game, you give us time and we'll break you down.
Oh my God! So you know the Dolo ball. Sorry, go ahead, Eric. I was gonna say I want to know what Dolo ball is to you, but go ahead.
No, it's interesting because I do think that the way San Diego is also built as a possession team, and so I think the way that San Diego and Miami approach us is going to be pretty similar. And if you look at the San Diego attack, but then add pieces in there like Messi and Busquets, and I mean. It starts to get a little bit frightening because we saw how the first 30 minutes played out. But, as you were saying, Daniel, with Martinez, I kind of thought the same thing, put him underneath. But I think the way Dolo ball is on our end, he plays a 6 2/8, and he needs a 6 2/8. He needs all 3 midfielders to be able to defend well. And I do think the interchange, especially with Ebobisse and Giroud, I'm sure we'll get into it because – I was asking earlier, like Giroud or Higuain, like who is the bigger MLS bust in all history? But that guy can't
already
get on
there?
the field.
Oh man,
yeah, we're there.
I wasn't a big Higuain fan, but it has to be Giroud because Higuain got on the pitch and the way he ended his Inter Miami career,
it was good.
He kind of he did. He had a good last 3-4 months when Pozuelo got there, but I wasn't a fan of Higuain's.
Yep.
All right.
Are we all just scrolling the comments here? And we get the dead minutes. We're all like, oh,
no,
hey,
no.
Jump in
I was just giving you guys some time to have this convo. I thought it was.
I mean, I will happily let you know, Giroud. Look, I thought that he would start this year. I thought that they would figure out a way to get him on the pitch consistently.
Okay, here we go.
Once they got it, Bobby say,
we got a Giroud.
There you go, Giroud by far, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a disaster. In my opinion, it's been a disaster because he can't even get on the pitch, which is wild to me.
It's not. I don't understand that part because throwing the towel in the beginning of the season and having DNPs, it doesn't look good for anybody, right? You have to keep trying to deploy this guy. Gareth Bale would come in off the bench, and then sometimes you would see the flash, right? And to give him up like this when you have such a busy schedule and there's no clear explanation why, you just list it as a leg injury and now it's nothing. And he's not incorporated into your rotation and was brought in to be one of your main guys. He's a designated player for you. Right? Not to mention
you can't miss on designated players in this
barely
league.
Ever take the stage to talk to media or anybody. It doesn't, right? So what is your role? I think as a designated player that has to carry with. I'm not saying he's not a good locker room guy, but you have to carry yourself as a DP on and off the field. And I think Giroud is missing that on and off the field. You know what I mean? Doesn't deserve to start.
If he's a locker room guy, I mean, he hurt his legs so badly that he went to France to go hang out with the national team. Like, that's not what a locker room guy does. Like, if he's hurt, he's in the locker room, like being that guy. So it's just going on. I see Ryan HSN. Why did LAFC concede so many goals this season?
Well, that's a whole nother conversation we're willing to have as well.
The 5 on Seattle was with Lloris resting. And then, the rest set pieces is where we've really struggled. this season.
The set pieces has been really bad, and we can talk about that. And you didn't say it, but I brought it up. Like corner kicks, your guys they're gonna get one, and boom, they got one. So it happens, and it didn't happen against the team that I thought, which was SKC, which is really bad, but it happens, and we've been exposed this way on corner kicks and on free kicks, on these entry level free kicks when people are slicing it. The positioning in the box between Aaron Long and Marky Delgado is not working out. They have to fix this because there's a hole in between the two, and people are exploiting it by just putting two bodies on them. So it's broken. It's really broken.
Tafari's positioning hasn't been good
he's
either.
just not very good on a one-to-one basis, but I don't see him failing on these corner situations that I'm describing. That's all I'm saying. But I think it's pretty clear that Giroud is the bigger bust. I have not given up on him yet.
You haven't?
No, I think if LAFC still has a plan for him, unless they already give up and say, you know what, it's not going to work. We're going to cut ties with you in the middle of the year. But you can't just give up. It's like when James Rodriguez went to São Paulo. Like they stopped trying after 6 games. And then if you ask James after the fact, why did you leave São Paulo? And he goes like, they didn't play me. So you don't want Giroud saying, well, they didn't play me. Right? So I think we just need to see this thing through now that he's here as our DP. We need this guy to work. And I don't like the comment he doesn't fit the systems. Why? I think the system has to fit him, not the other way around. We have to make him work. And again, it's my pro Giroud chant here. And what I think what we're missing more than anything else is the Griezmann piece, right? If he really comes, does it change how effective he is?
Do you think that would change things?
I do, because it adds the tan piece better, which we're hoping Martinez becomes, right? But it doesn't. He doesn't have anybody in front of him to do triangulations, and Boanga is forced too wide to beat that guy, and it's messing Boanga's mojo too. So, but I still think that within the box, and I would say park yourself within LAFC's box and don't move. Just be the guy and lock their center back in here. That's not Dolo ball, right? But you said, if we're going to beat this very scary team that you've described to us, man, we have to try something. And to just give up on him now, it seems ludicrous to me, unless he's really, really hard. Sorry, I'm done. I'm done with my pro thing about Giroud, but I think it's absurd that it's March. It's March 31st. And we're talking that he hasn't given up. It's not going to work out.
How uncommon is it for you guys to have an 8:30 start time?
It's uncommon.
Very uncommon.
Yeah.
They want that stadium full because it's so bad to get to that stadium by 7:30 on a Wednesday that no one would be there, and no one wants to see a very empty BMO Stadium for Messi, right? It would look bad. It looked bad against some of the
game is starting
other teams.
basically at midnight for us.
It's really bad for the.
I know,
TV
that's rough, but I will say
really
a
bad.
7:30 game time, they're going to barely have 20% of the people in the seats by that kickoff. Dude,
I think what should have been done is play on the weekend. Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
But. Yeah, no, I mean, everybody knows that LA is known for horrible traffic, but I think until you're here and you experience it, you don't really understand how bad it actually is.
No, I agree with you, Bigote.
I
agree with you 100%.
9 miles will take an hour and a half, regular.
What's also not good is a stadium empty for everyone to see on the television product.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? And that's the tough part, man. And I see it in LA is the type of town that if you don't live here, you're gonna have a problem. You saw what happened to the U.S. men's national team on a weekend. And then they try the opposite.
Well, that was a little different.
This game really early, right? And that didn't work
a little
either.
different, so.
Of course, it's different, but it's still Los Angeles, and transporting yourself here sucks. But yeah, it is a different situation, different supporter groups, different.
So is it easier to make it to Carson?
No, that's a pain too. I mean, that's
really?
Same thing.
I've never been to LA. I don't know.
Yeah,
you should. So this would have been a good game for you to check it out because I think the atmosphere will be excellent. They will have no problem filling that stadium up. There's not a lot of tickets available, so 8:30 is the correct start. However, that has to be kickoff at 8:30, right? You can't be let's start the festivities at 8:30.
No, it's going to be at 8:40.
And so that's pretty insane to me because no one's gonna Oh my God! Look at this comment here. I got it. Sorry, these comments are the best part of the show today. And yes, we can talk about that a little bit here. But look, we always like to talk about what we think it's going to happen. You know, whether it's like a prediction and whatnot, and how the thing is going to go, how the game's going to go. So Daniel, tell us a little bit of what you think the score of this game's going to be, and how is this game going to turn out?
A team that kind of just sits back and lets us possess the ball. I think they're going to suffer because we will get through. Now, the Miami hasn't really played a counter-attacking team, at least not a good one yet. The only time we played against one was against Charlotte, but we went down to 10 men early, so we weren't as aggressive, so they really couldn't counter us, right? Because when you're 10 men, you're a little more defensive-minded. So I don't know how we're going to do defending the counter. But when we have had counter opportunities against us, I think we've defended them well. We've gotten back and we've gotten into shape really quickly. We have Maxi Falcon, which is shutting everything down. Yannick Bright. I just can't imagine us losing, honestly, to LAFC. But I try not to be that confident because the last time I was like that, you saw what happened against Atlanta. But honestly, I just don't see us losing neither one of the two games. Okay. I'm just going to put out there. I'll say a 2-0 victory.
Okay. All right, Eric. I want to get your take. Before I get your prediction, though, a couple of things. Let's talk a little bit about our lineup, what it should look like tomorrow, and then it gives Daniel a little bit of an understanding how our team clicks too. But Bouanga needs to be locked in. You know, he's been great in CCC, not so good in league play. Do you agree with me that first goal, Bouanga early, changes everything for us, right?
This is much going to be like the Columbus game. It's not one goal that changes everything. We need to build a cushion to go into Miami. Otherwise, I mean, even a draw is going to be really tough. A one goal is going to be hard to overcome there. You know, we honestly probably need like 3 goals, which I really don't see happening. For the lineup, we're going to have to go with basically our best 4 in the back. I would like to see Palencia and Hollingshead starting. I would also like to see Long and Segura. I haven't liked Tafari's positioning, and I think against Miami in particular, any little mistake in positioning is going to get punished, absolutely punished. So, and then in the midfield, it's got to be, man, it's probably still has, man, Tillman is such a liability right now. Igor Jesus had a rough game.
You guys like Tillman?
Pardon?
You like Tillman? I don't like Tillman.
Well, he's been really not so excellent since.
And last season, you know, Daniel, I'm a huge Atuesta fan, and like I still look at this. If we would have kept Atuesta over Tillman, how much different our team and I think more successful our team would look right now. But alas, that's not the case.
Much better this year than him. Yes.
Tillman has regressed. In last year, I thought he was really. I thought he should have been our 4th midfielder, and he's regressed this year. His problem is he can't play a forward pass in the final third to save his life.
Yeah, but he's messy with his negative passes also.
Yeah, he's negative passes, and when he tried finally to do a forward pass that went straight to a San Diego guy, basically at the very end of the game to end the game. Otherwise, he won't make the pass at all. Odin Holm, who was injured in preseason and just started coming back as a Norwegian midfielder, I think he has more of the playmaker attitude and disposition, but he just started playing the last 2 games, so he has not gelled at all with his team. And, you know, how do you experiment with this at this point? Hopefully the front 3 is going to stay the same. But anyways, I know we were talking about the defense. It's got to be Long and Segura back there. Otherwise, the positioning is just they're going to get pulled apart like
unless you go 3 in the back,
like an Argentinian pastry, which I don't know the name of.
Okay. So your fullbacks are going to be Hollingshead and
Palencia
and Palencia. In the mid, you go with Igor Jesus, which was suspended in MLS but can play CCC, and you keep Delgado and Tillman as your other 2 midfielders.
Have to.
Okay.
We have to. We can't.
Ünder on the right. And then now the big question, right? Who plays middle? And I think we talked about Giroud being an option, Jeremy Ebobis being another option, Denny Martinez being another option. What do you do with that 3rd attacker position for us?
The same front 3 we just had. It's going to be Bouanga, Martinez, and Ünder, and they need to interchange like they were the same game, because Martinez looks great on the left side. He looks great on the right side. He can play the middle as well. Bouanga can a little bit. It looked like Ünder was confident, kind of jumping in the middle. So that's what it's got to be. And if we're counterattacking, those are the three guys you want up front on a counterattack. So, I mean, that's how it has to be, and we're going to live and die on that.
That's the team. All right, Eric. So give me your prediction of this game here. Daniel's not. All right, I'm gonna tell you this, Daniel. The last away fan that came in our podcast on CCC gave a prediction that we were gonna get blown out of the water and use the term that I will still remember.
Yeah,
he was
Columbus.
Like, well,
you know who it was. You know who it
was. It's gonna come down to who has the bigger balls.
And the guy said, he's like, they always give me grief because I always have ridiculous score lines. So 4-0 Columbus.
It was great. So he predicted Columbus beating us like 3-0, and it turns out to be
4-0. 4-0.
Yeah. So, anyways, Eric, I just wanted to remind you of that moment, and now go ahead with your prediction here, since Daniel just completely shithoused us, as you like to say.
Well, I mean, this is thank God this is Hollywood where we can act, because I'm going to fully put on a character and I'm going to act. And I'm going to say a 3-1. We're going to come through this and make it at least interesting in Miami.
You're going to win 3-1?
Just don't ask me how much I actually believe it's going to be a 3-1 or how much I would actually bet of my own cash money that it's going to be a 3-1, because I would bet absolutely nothing on it. But I'm going to say it's a 3-1 because I feel like after these last games, if we come out like we did the last 60 minutes against Seattle, we're going to make this a game. If we do that first 30 minutes, it's going to be over before it even starts. But I think we're going to lock in on this one. We've also made the final every CCC we've ever been in. So that's another one. Of our two, we're final twice. So 3-1, we're going back there, and it's going to be a game.
So, unfortunately, we can't bet real money in our state. Even though we can do all kinds of shit here, we cannot bet money.
Really? You guys can't? We just recently started being able to bet.
No sports betting, I think. Too many reservations, too many people with their hands on the pot to make it work. But the only bet I would do is Messi will do something. The guy has 4 goal contributions in 3 games and continue to be a monstro. And as a Brazilian,
7 in 7 games.
It's really hard to see it happening. Since Lionel Messi became Lionel Messi, Brazil hasn't won anything. Has regressed into a very small team. And however, I do believe LAFC is putting a lot of chips in this game. And if you saw the San Diego game and judged this team, you were wrong. That was a rotated squad thinking about Miami in the middle of the week. I am not as confident as you, Eric.
How much rotation, though?
I'm sorry, what?
How much rotation? Long was played.
A lot of rotation. I mean, the fact that you start Artem Smolyakov on the left, you had the youngest lineup that I've ever seen LAFC field. A lot of the young guys played. Igor Jesus is still a very young person and made a mistake. So we're still coming together with this team, and I did see some rotation. Oh, and Tafari in the back, right? The one guy that didn't rotate it, they should have, is Hugo Lloris. He did not need it that game. He was not ready. You could tell his head is elsewhere. The guy has a chance to play against Messi, right? He's French. He's going against an Argentine. There's beef there. By the way, Daniel, what do you think of that? Is there a little bit of this France-Argentina rivalry in this game at all? Or do you think that's really not in play here?
I'm Colombian. I don't know how Argentines feel about France so much. I know that there's something there. And I know that
they had the final, yeah.
And if Griezmann and Pogba end up over there, I'm sure that we can build up that storyline. France, Argentina, all over again, right? The rematch of 2022. But no, I don't think, at least I haven't heard too many people talking too much about that. Because, I mean, if you think about the big 4 from Inter Miami, the Barca boys, only one of them is Argentine, right? Suárez is Uruguayan, Busquets and Alba are from Spain. So, no, I don't think it's too much there.
Giroud's not helping that cause. You have to make this.
Also with Argentina, I think their big rivals are Brazil and England because they had the Falklands War.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, they've had a good. You're right. I mean, it would have been just you said,
they
reenactment
Brazil,
of that 2022. So it would have been cool. And being Brazilian, you being Colombian, like we're always kind of sparring against each other. It's been fun to watch these games, man. But
fun for
Argentina,
you, maybe, not for us.
Argentina's not doing anything. Well, you had a good run in Copa America. Look, it happens, right? But look, man, it's been good to have you here. My prediction 2-1, tight game. We come out with a solid win and protect, defend in Miami. And I think if we do that, it's good. It's good. Unfortunately, very porous defense right now. Even though we've had a lot of shutouts, and Hugo Lloris has been excellent. I think with Messi in his form and Suárez the way he's playing right now, it's going to be really hard to keep him to a 0-0.
That drop was a fluke, Celso. You know what I'm saying? The Lloris hasn't really had any mistakes his whole time here, and every keeper is going to get one howler every 8 or 9 months, and hopefully that was just his. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Daniel, how do Miami fans see the CCC trophy? Because I know you guys have supporter shield, but not much else. The rest of us, you see CCC is if you could win one trophy, that's the one.
Yeah, I think the majority, I'm not going to speak for everybody, but I think the majority of the people that are usually in the chat with us and everything, CCC is a priority, right? That's the international trophy. That's our Champions Cup, right? In Europe, that is the one. So for us, that's the priority. We want that little star that you got right up there on top of your badge. We want that, definitely, right?
You don't want that.
You got one of those also?
Right here. Oh, yeah, it has. It's very faint. In fact, this jersey is very different from any jersey I've had from LAFC.
Do you guys like that new
details?
Do you like that new one?
I like the color, but it's
this color, right?
That's
so
weird.
Do you see this here? It's got this little pinch here, which I guess I could snap out to open it. But what it does is that it keeps the color from popping, right? So that not everybody's with their colors up. And I guess you could rupture that and make your color go up. But I thought that was a cool little detail. The detail here, I know people are well, I don't like this, the little collar, but the detail on the collar makes it pretty special, because if you look at Eric's, there's just a line, right? It's like a t-shirt. So in the collar, right? So at least this makes it more like a polo shirt type thing.
I love a good collar on a shirt.
Yeah, I think the button is kind of what throws me off. What are we gonna do? Become the priest and just button it up? So I'm still kind of getting used to it. I was telling Eric I might need a large, but that's another story.
What throws me off on that though is that the collar doesn't go all the way around. I
didn't realize it until I just saw him wearing it. I'd only seen the pictures. I never realized.
It reminds me of the Brazil jerseys back in '98 or '94 that had these triangles and it kind of had this this is all dry fit material.
We're not talking about the triangles. We're talking about the collar right now.
I'm talking about the whole thing. I'm doing a whole demo of this jam here. This show is to become. What does the show become here? But anyways, I think it's a very different jersey, and they tried something different with the jersey 2, and they've done that before. And kudos to LAFC. I don't mind it. It was a gift.
Next year, my understanding is that everybody's gonna have a third kid. So.
Yeah, we haven't had a third kid in a little bit. My favorite kid is the community kid.
We had that retro one last year, the throwback.
But we had the retro, which it was
sick.
Go well with these retro glasses I got. I was like, well, maybe I'll just get one of those. I actually like that at all and a lot. And I got a Dick's Sporting Goods card, so maybe that's my second gift. It's another LFC jersey. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. But anyways, if I see one more Messi and Inter Miami jersey in my kid's school in Southern California, man, I'm going to freak out. So outside of that, I'm all for Messi. I hope he doesn't come here and goes crazy. But, the fact that he's healthy adds to the game, adds to the
absolutely
the
whole
stage
squad is
and how big this game is, right?
Yeah, the whole squad's healthy. Our keeper left the game early last game with cramps, but he should be back.
Is an interesting line.
So, and he's been huge in and helping playing against the counter, because he is a sweeper keeper. He'll leave that box real quick to kind of be that 11th defender.
He's one of those modern guys. Is that Ostari? Yeah. Is that his name? Ostari?
Yeah.
And so Callahan is he hurt and basically benched?
Callender just lost his job. That's basically
lost his job.
He came into the season, I guess, a little injured. Didn't play in the preseason and just lost his job. Just never got it back.
He was
playing great.
He was kind of one of the weaker links last season on the team, wasn't he?
He had some failures.
2 years ago, he had a great season. Last year wasn't as good, but for the way this team likes to play out of the back, possession ball, you need somebody that can distribute the ball, and that's not Drake's strong suit. Ustari is Like you can press him, it won't phase him. He's not gonna have a Lloris howler like Lloris just had last week. So yeah,
and guy is learning from Mascherano of all the sweepers in the world. That's his coach and professor and a teacher. So I mean, it's gonna be a battle, but I'm confident LAFC is gonna squeeze by. For Dolo to lose this game after the record that he's having and not really having success in league play and just get bounced off out of CCC, it can shake things up at LAFC. So I think this coaching staff is pretty dialed in this game, and at the very least is going to do this job at home and get 3 points or get the advantage to play for the tie over there. But anyways, man, appreciate you being here, Daniel. You're welcome to stay and talk San Diego with us. We have to cover this game a little bit.
Go for it. I'm good with that.
Yeah, and you've had good commentary. It seems like you've watched the game.
Yeah, I mean, look, a quick
your crowd is here too.
MLS fans, so for the most part,
you've done that too.
I watch most of the games, and we talk about just about
nice.
All the games,
so we're gonna switch views a little bit just for fun because we're gonna be talking about this game. So first off, massive atmosphere at Snapdragon. First trip to San Diego for LAFC. Lots of supporters making the trip. I think a lot of people had this circle as a away game. Eric, what did you think of what did you think of the fans, man, making that trip? And let's just not even talk about the off the field stuff. It's not our job to cover that. We're just pretending.
That's like more fun
it's not
to
gonna
talk
happen,
about
but
the
it
game
really doesn't have a
the
place
game
for us to
fucking
talk about.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. So no, I'm going to talk about the off-field stuff because I've seen a lot of yapping online about it. I mean,
while you do that, I'm going to fix my light.
There have been, if you look at all the fan bases, unfortunately, fan aggression has been a problem with the game. And yeah, man, like Carson fans getting fights, our fans getting fights, Dodgers fans getting fights, Padres fans getting fights, and it's kind of with each other. If there was an SF team, their soccer team fans would be getting in fights with us. It's kind of carries over. I think they're more regional rivalries blowing up. And then, of course, throw alcohol in the mix. And, like, one of the main videos was two San Diego fans fighting each other anyways. It wasn't even, like, other fans. So this is just general.
AKA Club America fans?
Yeah. Man, I mean, when I was at the Liga MX versus U.S. team in Las Vegas, like, all the fights were MX fans on MX fans. Like, it wasn't much the other way. So it's like, these things happen in the game.
And that's why I like it. Does it even matter to talk about? Yeah, I mean, I've been in the States since I'm 2 years old in Brazil, and there were fights, and my dad was always like, just go the other way, right? Or like, hey, it's a big rivalry game. Maybe you don't want to wear too much gear or wear a coat. So if you go through against by a bunch of supporters, you can just kind of go through it and not be, harassed because they've had too much to drink. You got to be smart, right? It's called street smart, right?
Yeah,
if you look for trouble, you're going to find
listening,
trouble. Especially
don't get drunk and fight. It's not cool, okay?
Well, of course it's not cool, but it happens because people drink and they like soccer and they get passionate.
Daniel, you're
and
muted.
Just
you're muted.
Act stupid. Daniel,
you're muted. Mute.
He's coming back.
No, Daniel, you got your mute. You're mute.
I'm trying to unmute you, but unfortunately
not. There we go.
Yeah, you got it. You're back, baby.
You're good.
You're good.
Okay, no, I was going to say, if you ever attended any soccer games in South America, it's just a normal thing, right? Like, and it gets worse.
Yes.
I've seen the Brazil where the way that the cops with the nightsticks and just going in on the fan, like it's just I don't know. Like I understand we don't want to see it, but I don't like the way people are reacting to it. Like it's. To me,
it's a law enforcement's job to find who did it, and if they want to prosecute him. It's not my job to discuss it. Yeah, you fought someone, and they have a right to go sue you if they feel like you committed a crime against them. I didn't see it as a group fight, which I think it's very different from what you described in South America, Daniel. Sometimes in South America, what it makes me really sad is when you have 100, 200 people going at another 200 people, and it's become a civilized riot. or organized riot, and that's not what happened at all. So people would just take their phones and just flash whatever the hell happened with two dumbasses going at it. Someone getting sucker punched. And the reality of the matter is that people like to see these videos, right? They click on them and they watch them, and that's why they viralize it. So people post it. But ultimately, it doesn't define this or makes it a rivalry at all. But what it does make a rivalry is the presence of away fans at a home stadium and claiming a part of it, which cannot stop because of potential violence. That is, to me, the most important thing. So you're in a metro, and I know you're I know you don't have like a direct rival, right, in Inter Miami outside of Orlando, but
that's forced. We don't really, like.
How do you replicate that outside of Southern California, where teams just seem to be a little bit more passionate?
Yeah, no, we don't really have a true rival. Orlando, I guess you could say, just because that's the closest team to us. Mm-hmm. But we don't really, like, our fan base kind of looks at them and, like, we don't really bother. We don't care. We considered Nashville at one point more of a rival because we had played them in such big games. Atlanta now, I think that's sparking up a little more. But Orlando, we don't really have like a true rival, not yet, at least.
Yeah. Oh, over there, like Atlanta and Orlando, like they've kind of had a big rivalry going, Evan. Like,
yeah, because Joseph Martinez used to shit on them all the time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like what Atlanta and Charlotte bring, because those stadiums always get pretty crowded, and they have supporters that really care. But they don't travel. And for example, here, same thing with the Pacific Northwest guys. They don't really travel to us. Most of the Seattle fans that come are people living here, people that have moved and now are attending Seattle Sounder games when they're in town, or family that's traveling with the team. But it's still not a culture of traveling. And I love the fact that our supporters all get together, and if it's a road trip, we're going somewhere. And this time they went to San Diego, showed up, right, Eric, to see our team just completely get demolished in 40 minutes of soccer. If you saw the beginning of the show, 3-0 at the 41st minute. And I think that's when I was like, okay, it's time for more wine, and I'm just gonna tune out. It was my birthday, so I was just like, but I still had it in the background, and then Eric starts like, OMG. But walk me through that first half, the emotions there, Eric, because I know you were pretty agitated.
Yeah, no, the first half was just kind of like, what the fuck is this? Like,
it was nuts.
Like everybody decided to have a bad game all at once. I guess that happens, but yeah, the midfield was just, they were slow getting to everything. They looked disorganized, and the way their touches were bad, and they would just lose the ball. When they would get the ball, they would give it right back, like cheaply. And then, the goals coming from set pieces was another one. Like the first one was just a complete lapse of marking. The second one was a Lloris mistake, which shouldn't have happened. San Diego's third goal was a great goal. And as Aaron Long said in the post-game presser, he said, it was just a well-developed, well-worked goal. They pulled us apart, and kudos to them. It was an excellent goal, and that's what you always like to see, is when a team puts it away through quality and skill as opposed to like a mistake. And the positives is obviously Smolyakov scoring an absolute
banger.
Oh man, that was a high Mars, that put a high Mars in there from the long distance, and but get the Ukrainian reference in there. But what a great first goal to have, and that kind of brought us back. And then the second goal, and got some fight. We had a good thing going for that game. But I'll also bring up the officiating was absolutely atrocious. And of course, it was a Penso. It wasn't the normal Penso. It was the wife of Penso. But she fucked us over just like Chris Penso does all the time. Really ticky-tacky yellow cards. That Igor Jesus, like,
what happened there? Like, that fight was like, what happened? Like,
it just
was it worth anything? It was a scuffle, right?
It took a good game and it just ruined it. Like, he got a really soft yellow card in the first half and a really soft yellow card again, and it really just
pisses me off.
You had it, you had a game that was really turning into a great game, and it got ruined by the official. All the wind got pulled out of it, and it basically became a possession team, up a man, just playing possession for 35 minutes.
The vibe.
Yeah,
It killed the vibe. But at least you still try, you know what I mean? But Daniel, before we go to the second half, like, so that first half you watch, I'm taking watch the whole game. What did you see from the two teams? Again, I saw a heavily rotated squad, out of positioning, thinking about Messi coming in 3 days. But I like to see what I like to see. You know, it was my birthday.
Right. No, but San Diego was on the front foot for the first, 35 minutes of that game.
Yeah, they were on speed
But that's
dial,
what you asked me earlier what I think Dolo ball is, and I think that's what Dolo ball invites. It invites the pressure. But when you're playing against a team that's lethal in the attack, that's what you'll get. Even though it was off of set pieces, you don't want to invite that much pressure. And I don't know how long Dolo ball is going to stay that way because it wasn't like that before. You guys were entertaining to watch before. I don't know how long it's going to stay. But yeah, I thought San Diego looked like the more aggressive team, and you knew they were going to get in there eventually. And that third goal, like you said, what you saw coming on the right side for that goal, the way it kind of built up, expect to see that tomorrow on Wednesday from the left. There you go, Dodo out.
This man's been calling for Dolo's head for so long. You know, Eric says, "What's up, buddy? Good that you found us." Right now we're on my feed on X. I try to retweet out of our section 128. When we get to about 100 followers, we'll buy the X so we can broadcast there. We're pretty cheap so far, but yeah, man. Welcome to our show. Another thing, Daniel, that I think our team is not doing well is developing youth, and you guys had a couple young guys that are playing really good for you. One is the young Brazilian. I really like his game that comes off the bench sometimes. But how happy are you with the youth development that you've seen from Inter Miami? You know, whether it's guys that you buy and develop or internal dudes that are coming in through your academy.
Oh, I mean, they're doing a great job.
Right?
Oh, they're getting all the young guys that want to come and they have a chance to go to Europe and they don't mind making a pit stop in MLS to play with Messi for a little while. And like Tadeo Allende coming down the right side, you're going to get to know him very well because he has been dominating that right side. And then Telasco Segovia, him and David Martinez are probably the two young studs for Venezuela. And he's been looking really good also. But yeah, Miami's done a great job filling in the team with youth as far as depth goes. Baltazar Rodriguez is on his way. Obando's on his way. But you guys, you may not have been doing it in the past, but if you can keep David Martinez here for a couple of years, I mean, that's a good start because that kid's an absolute baller.
Well, that was one of my questions for you, Eric, you know, and for you too, Daniel. But
sorry,
Eric, go ahead.
My wife keeps telling me I got to put the kids to bed, so I'm going to have to drop out of here.
Look, you got a thumb up for that one, buddy. As a parent, I totally get you, man.
I do appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, man.
And it was
absolutely.
A good time.
Anytime. The one thing you probably should change is a little bit less of the Yankee gear. A lot of Yankee gear behind you here.
There's a lot of people from New York go down to Florida.
But I'm totally joking here. Good luck to you. Better Herons. Daniel, thank you again. Your insight has been great. Good luck to Inter Miami. They've been exciting. They've added to our league. And this is going to be a battle. I think it's going to be an 180-minute game. So
absolutely, it's going to be fun. And Eric's crazy for wanting it to end because I love the craziness.
Yeah. Well, and tomorrow night, I'll be on Daniel's show tomorrow night as well.
Oh yeah. You go. Eric does the better Battered Fans,
Eastern, right? 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 9 o'clock Eastern for Battered Herons.
All right, at a decent
It's a Battered Herons.
At a decent East Coast time.
Yeah,
take that.
It's going to be the first time Eric actually joins us on Inter Miami show, which will be fun. And good luck because the chat is pretty aggressive with you.
The chat's been pretty aggressive, man. You know, and we're just starting. People are still finding us. And you brought your boys here, and I appreciate it. Soccer Daddy, El Bigote. We haven't seen y'all, but you guys been hammering it. This guy just wants to see more punches, and I love his photo.
The dude who always talks about my hair, I don't see him in the chat.
Mr. Krabs. You'll see him tomorrow
Mr. Krabs.
Anyways, we got about 7 minutes to wrap this puppy up, and I still want to ask you a couple questions, Eric. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I'll get you out of here. Well, no, he removed himself, made my life easier.
He did.
But yeah, Eric, before we go to these quick takes and predictions here, well, let's talk about Martinez. Like, he seems to me like he's basically a de facto starter for this team. And if I count my numbers right, he's basically benching Giroud and Ebobis at this. You know what I mean? Like, he just took that spot, and now it's his, right?
It better. It's our best front three is with him out there. I don't see how you bench under as well because he's scoring and Denny will get it in. I think with those guys up there, it's going to be good. Also, Martinez is very successful at dribbling past people, and this. I mean, he'll take on two guys and get past them pretty regularly, and this is an amazing skill that very few people have. So he has to be out there.
Like, bro, like that is my dream that this kid completely takes over this game in a couple of days and playing as a 10 against Lionel Messi. And the storyline of the game is how well he played in the Messi game, right? That to me is LAFC's secret sauce right now. We don't have a ton going on for us. Not a lot was working, but this is something that's working. We should keep riding the hot hand, right? Pretty simple thing to do here. Like,
no, 100%. And so we should talk about it is the Dolo hot seat at some point too, because the Dolo out calls are getting up there, especially Hobo's in the chat now, so like.
I had something planned for us to talk about, and this is a good time because as I opened up with, this is a pivotal week for this team because you're pretty soft in the regular season. You're not doing well. You actually have you lost 5 out of 7 or something pretty bad. And now CCL has been your sort of. We're doing good here, so don't look here, right? And if you just get bounced out of that, as Daniel predicted. You now have a problem because imagine if you lose this game and now you go to Houston on the weekend, you can't really put your guys because you have to go all out on Tuesday. That's a hot seat because you've lost plenty of games to now be starting to talk what we're going to do about it. But as we know, Eric, in MLS, you get many chances. And a team that won a title this year typically does not let go the same season. Do you agree with me?
Oh, look at Peter Vermees just got let go from Kansas City. Like, how many years has Kansas City been like a bottom 5 team? Like the last 4 at least, and he's been there, and they never get rid of the guy. So that's I've been bitching about this a lot over the last couple of months that MLS, anywhere else in the world, you see coaches replaced after 2-3 months, or 6 months. This is a common practice, but MLS, it's like they let these guys run for years and years. You can be a wooden spoon for 2 years in a row and you don't lose your job. So it gets a little bit ridiculous. And, one of the things with the Trundle press conference, they say is the guys, they're just not switched on and they're having difficulties. And, and we see they'll have times out there where they just don't look like their heads in the game. And this 100% is coaching, and this is something that's not getting done. Like if MC, my wife would always say, if you have one guy playing bad, it can be on the player. If the whole team is playing bad, that's on the coach. And this loss we had against San Diego wasn't just one guy playing bad. It was a whole bunch. It was like the majority of them playing bad. And so having them prepared, having them in this has always been a problem. And, I agree. LAFC is not going to do anything with Dolo. He's going to be coaching this whole year. And if we do get bounced out of CCL, this is a massive, we'll have nothing to show for where we are in the season at this point. And I
have to challenge you because last week you said something that it was a little bit of a hot take and it suddenly became a take before it was even hotter. Than it will become even hotter if we get bounced out of CCC after all these moves. But, you got to look at least at the front office and say, hey, you've done a lot of moves and some of them did not pan out. You also let go of some players that were pretty instrumental for us in Chicho and Ilie. A lot of leadership just walked out of the door. And leadership is hard to recreate. When we lose, now it's Aaron Long. I'm going to go there and talk and say, they had a good game and they scored. But it seems like all the leadership now is with Aaron Long. And that is not enough leadership. LAFC had 5 or 6 vocal leaders. Carlos Vela was this captain. I know it was a long time ago, but the roster has been removed so much from the time we won that title that it's worth asking the question, do you have to say, hey, did the front office kind of mess something that was really good? And now you're going to say, well, maybe it's because MLS has its funny rules. But who is to blame? How do you fix something when there's so much expectation that this has to work?
Well, I mean, one thing you need all your DPs to be playing well. And that's, this is, if you don't have all of your DPs playing well, you're a middle table at best. You're a bottom table usually.
We are a middle table team, buddy. You said it
right. We have one of the biggest busts in MLS history on our roster right now doing jack shit. And so this is a hard thing to come over, We have some good U22s picking up the slack, but ideally, like if you look at Miami, every DP they have is crushing it. All of their TAM players are crushing it. All of their U22s are crushing it. There's nobody who's dead weight on that roster, and we got dead weight on our roster. So
I think we could have predicted this, though, Eric. We lose Kiki Oliveira and Mateus Bogusz, guys that were contributing goal scorers for us, and suddenly we bring in dudes that are still not proven, and double down on an older guy that is not panning out at all, right, in Giroud. So, some statistics I pulled before the show worth talking about. LAFC, 9 points in 6 matches. We're officially a mid-table team in Major League Soccer. I would put us in the 3rd tier. I don't even think we're a 2nd-tier team right now in Major League Soccer. We might be having a very different conversation in a month, but to me, we're a 3rd-tier team, and that's pushing it based on what I'm seeing. We've scored 8 goals that put us in 18th in the league. Away goals, 6 of them, 2 at home. Very bad at home scoring if you think about it. We have not looked good in league play at home, and we've conceded 8 goals away, only 1 at home. So the defense has been playing good at home, but we're conceding like hell on the road in these games. I don't understand how vulnerable we've been outside of BMO, right? Outside of rotating a couple guys. Smolyakov been there for a couple of these, which is not a good mark for him to be in there. But I think LAFC is about average. It's just an average team. Now, average teams can really succeed. They can play above their mark, dude. And we see that in Columbus. They get rid of their star, and they can't lose in league play. So it's not just, like you said, it's not just one guy. This is a system that is not working with the current guy. So, yes, I have to blame the commission, the coaching staff for some of this, because this is the pieces that you have. You know what I mean? You have direct communication with JT. I'm sure you approved some of these moves, right? So what is the plan? Like, what is the plan to make it work, right? Because even the guys that are coming in our podcast are telling us, Eric, hey, this is not working. The low ball doesn't work.
Yeah. And most coaches have multiple ways they can come at you. I mean, we talk about Palmeiras and Abel Ferreira. Like he can come out with 4 different schemes to go against teams. And Dolo has Dolo ball, just like Bob Bradley had Bob Bradley ball. It's very one-dimensional. And if he's unable to win the 1v1 battles on the pitch up and down with the roster, we're toasted. And kind of now we're getting to the point where even when we can win the 1v1 battles, we are getting beaten. We are getting out tacticked, and
very much so.
Yeah. If I'm another team, I'm coming in. Okay. Our goal is to win set pieces, and our goal is to bottle their forwards into the sidelines because they cannot bring it to the middle. They have no midfielder that can break our lines and put a pass into the top of the box. So we're going to force them into crossing, which they can't do. And that's it. That's all they got. And
part of the reason we've been good at home as a defense is because teams are very passive attacking. Say, just try. You can't do it because we're going to put 5 in the back, and you're not going to be able to penetrate, and you're going to force Denis Bouanga out, and there won't be enough creativity in the middle to make it work. So we're at the mercy of Nathan Ordaz deciding a game for us, which happened against the first game of the season, which is against Minneapolis, right? Minnesota United. But since then, we had the Austin game at home. That has not panned out. And everything that we tried away has been terrible, has really been bad. So, look, we're 3 minutes past here. A couple of other stats I have to tell you that I'm just like, oh, my God, this is not good. Defensively, pretty much an average team, 18th out of 30th in goals conceded. Offensively, we lag behind top scorers in Orlando, Chicago, and Philly. They're the ones that are doing really well. And to your point earlier, coulda, shoulda, woulda. But it looks like keeping El Profe would have been a good move based on what he's doing in Orlando.
I said this, man. Yeah. We have no progressive passers.
Coulda, shoulda, would have a little bit. But, I mean, look, that one to me is one that it was hard to see it. But he lost space in the team even last year, which I disagree a little bit with the move. So it was the right move for the player, and I'm glad he's finding success in Orlando. It's a great market for him.
I know a lot. I know the majority of our fans really were down on Atuesta, I never understood it. From what I watch, it's like, and I said it. We had nobody else that can do what he does. We need somebody that can have the creativity to make those progressive passes. I mean, I don't know if you have our progressive passing stats, but I bet our progressive passes are near the bottom of the league right now.
You have a lot of tiki-tack thing to the side, and I can take that. I can take a look, especially in league play. Again, it's hard to look at the stats, and I'll take a little bit of grain of salt because it's still a young season, so the stats are a little bit off. But also, we're playing two tournaments, and it is messing with us. We're not Miami. We're not able to do it, and it's pulling us down. So once that's been flushed out, I think we're gonna have a much clearer picture of who this team is. But it might be too late. And right now, like I said, we're a mid-table team. We're still within striking distance. We're not Carson, right? Which is having a really hard year. After winning. So it's hard to keep doing good in Major League Soccer because of the restrictions, and we're seeing what's going on over there without their main player. But we still have our main player, and he's been a shadow of himself in the league play, and he has to find more scoring. He has to be a Golden Boot candidate for us if we have any chance in league play. Otherwise we might miss the playoffs, man. Imagine how embarrassing that would be.
Last season was a reload season, like we didn't have the huge expectations last year because we knew, we weren't in the continental competition, but knowing we had CCC this year, this is the target. When you're in that competition, you load up. That's it. Like there's no turning your back on that tournament, and there's no we'll get them next time. No, that it makes you win now. It's a win now. So getting bounced out of this, even though it's against Miami, it's going to be a lot of dolo out if we don't go through this and we get bounced, and deservedly so. It will be time to ratchet that up. It will also be time to look at Razov, MDS, and JT. Especially the rest of the coaching room hasn't really had any scrutiny, and they've been here since day one. And they're a lot of the attacks. So we're not there yet, but definitely. It's
tough, man. We've been so hard and cold with him. Sometimes we think he's doing well, and I thought he was. And the two tournaments have really exemplified this. The good Dolo shows up sometimes, and the bad Dolo shows up most times so far this year. It's been tough to watch. And that's our show, guys. We've been here for an hour and 7 minutes. We appreciate y'all being here. Before I let you go, Eric, quick tease here of leg 2. I just want to know, what are you thinking? What do we go into that game with here for leg 2? Do you think this is going to be a 180-minute game, kind of like very tense? Or do you think leg 2 will be essentially dead in the water, or with this thing decided?
We need a 2-goal advantage to even have a prayer over there, and I still think even a 3-goal is going to be hard advantage to carry into that stadium because it's a long cross-country trip. They're going on a long cross-country trip, so we need to make that happen. I mean, they got a week off. A lot of things got stacked against us on this leg, but there's no excuses on that. It's do or die, especially with how bad the rest of the season has been in the regular season. You've lost those games. Okay. Show us why you lost them, and it's to come through in this. So, we need if we have a 3-goal advantage going into that, it's going to be a dogfight. If we're less than a 3-goal advantage, we're going to have a real tough time.
Like I said, I don't care about anything regular season until this game is resolved, and then we're going to have a conversation about all these things people have been bringing up. But until then, I think it's premature. But look, this is our show today. I really want to thank you, Daniel from Battered Herons. That was here today. It was a lot of fun. He dropped a lot of good insights about Inter Miami. Very confident that they're gonna come here and drop at least a couple goal differentials on us. I disagree. And but yeah, man, this has been great, Eric. told you, I think it's going to be a tight LAFC win. We're going to send you off to wherever you're going with an LAFC win over Messi. I think it's well-deserved after eight seasons, right, at Section 128. So it's worth mentioning that you've been a season ticket holder there. And I was like, hey, man, we might have to just change the name because you're not going to be there. And Eric's response was what? Fuck that.
Yeah,
we are not doing this. We're keeping the name. We're keeping our seats. And we're keeping it going. So thank you very much for being here once again. If you haven't yet, glad you found it. And glad you found us. And go ahead and subscribe on YouTube and also on X so that we can get a little bit more follower here and transfer the broadcast of our X to our account. That's going to happen soon here. But till then, appreciate you guys being here and check us out on my X.
Mondays at 5, we're here.
Mondays at 5 live every time, baby. Here we go. Not changing that.